When people are looking for watches, they're normally looking for something that looks more expensive than it is. So this is my top 5 affordable luxury watches that look more expensive than they are. Welcome back to the Chisholm Hunter channel. My name is Harrison, as always. And when people talk to me about watches, normally they want something that looks more expensive than it actually is. And that's totally understandable. Everyone wants value for money, especially in the age that we live in. I think that's why the Tissot PRX was such a huge hit, because it looks so much more expensive than it is. Today, we're going to be counting down 5 watches that look more expensive than they actually are. You know, that really was the perfect segue, because watch number 1 is the Tissot PRX, the automatic version, the Powermatic 80 version. I actually own this watch. I have the green dial and it's absolutely phenomenal. But let's talk about the price, let's talk about the specs and what makes this such value for money. This watch comes in at 40 millimeters in diameter, which is an extremely pleasant size, especially if you've got slimmer wrists like me. I have wrists that come in about 6.5 inches. And it's actually quite funny, if you look across the industry at sports watches, everything seems to be getting smaller. The sort of trend at the moment is smaller watches, and I actually really like that. The thickness of this model comes in at 10.9 millimeters, so it is quite a snug watch. It sits quite close to the wrist and gets covered by a shirt cuff quite nicely. It is, in my opinion, more of a dress watch. When I wear the Tissot PRX, it is into work. It's when I'm dressed a little bit more up, sort of shirt and tie, and I think that's where it suits. It suits those kind of occasions. Another thing that makes it look so much more expensive than it actually is the dial. It actually has a waffle dial with a sunray pattern running through it, so you kind of have 2 or 3 layers of depth all working together within that dial. That's phenomenal. But where this watch really shines through for me, where this watch really gains its look, its valued look, aesthetic, is through the bracelet. It has a beautiful 70s inspired bracelet with a butterfly clasp at the bottom. The light seems to jump down a link each time when you reflect it. It's absolutely stunning. And if you look at the market, the luxury watch market, when you want one of these bracelets, you either need to go for a Vacheron Constantin Overseas, a Patek Philippe Nautilus, or an AP Royal Oak. That is the 70s inspired Genta design that everybody wants. And it's out of reach for most people because I don't carry about £30,000 in my wallet. I don't think I'll ever get to that goal. So when Tissot released this watch with that bracelet, with that aesthetic for an affordable price, who wouldn't buy it? And just to finish off, to cap on the Tissot PRX, it comes in at £565 and also has the Powermatic 80 movement. This is a ETA movement with 80 hours of power, which is pretty incredible for the price. I've said this in other reviews, but ETA movements are powerhouses of movements and shouldn't be looked down on. Now, if you want to hear a full review, a full spec sheet, so to speak, of this Tissot, then just click here. I'll link it up here. We've done a video on that, but this isn't what this video is about. It's about watches that look more expensive than they actually are. And this watch looks expensive. And on that note, we need to pause this video to bring to you our biggest giveaway yet. This is the 20k giveaway. It is a Tissot PRX light green, which in my opinion is the most attractive Tissot PRX out. And all you need to do for your chance to win is firstly, hit that subscribe button. Secondly, comment with what is on your wrist today. And thirdly, head to our Chisholm Hunter Watches Instagram page and drop us a follow. Thank you guys so much for supporting this channel. It is truly heartwarming, and this is my gift to you. Next up is a brand that you will all know, and actually it's a brand that you all love. I know that I certainly love them. It's the Seiko 5 GMT. This model is definitely for those that want the big chunky sports watch without paying the big chunky price tag. This model comes in at 42.5 millimeters and also has a thickness of 13.56 millimeters. Now, this watch actually wears that little bit bigger, in my opinion, because of that crown at the 4 o'clock mark. But that crown is iconic to Seiko and actually gives the watch a lot of personality and is a little bit of fun. It's something that you don't really see every day, so I quite like that. If you are slightly slimmer like myself, I wouldn't actually recommend this watch. I have 6.5 inch wrists and it's just that little bit too chunky for me. But if you have over 7 inch wrists-ish, then I think it'll wear a lot better and actually look really, really good on your wrist. This specific model comes in quite a few color variations. It's got the black grape, the blueberry, and there's an orange one that I can't remember the nickname for. They're all really, really attractive models, but the one I like more than anything is actually the orange one because it's a little bit unique. It's a little bit standoutish. I just quite like it. Also, as well as this, they are GMT models, so they read multiple time zones. They also have a Jubilee bracelet and come in at £400. Now, if you want to see a full review, you can just click here, but overall, they look awesome. Next up on the list, we have the Longines HydroConquest. This is an absolutely awesome model, and actually, I would argue that this is the best sports diving watch that you can buy for the money. One thing I love more than anything about Longines, and especially the HydroConquest range, is their diversity. They have so many different styles, different aesthetics, and that can be seen in the measurements. So you have a 39mm variant, you have a 41mm variant, and a 43. So no matter what your wrist size is, you'll get one that fits you pretty perfectly. As well as this, they have a variety of different colors and metals. You've got the classics, blue, black, green, all the big hitting colors. So you can pretty much match it exactly to your style. And I think that this is what's missing in a lot of other watch brands, but Longines they've really nailed this. As well as this watch goes to 300 meters of water resistance, has a screw down crown to support this, and also has a pretty awesome ceramic bezel. It's great. And also, as well as this, it has an in-house movement, the L888 movement, I believe it's called, and that is fully in-house to Longines and COSC certified. As well as this movement has a power reserve of 72 hours. And I've said this before, I think that the Longines HydroConquest is an affordable version of the Rolex Submariner. It has all the characteristics of a Rolex Submariner for a pretty fantastic price. And obviously, it looks more expensive than it is. Before we go on to number 4 and 5, remember that Chisholm Hunter are actually authorized retailers of every single brand that you see in this video. And actually, they've released a pretty incredible feature on their website. And basically what you can do is take a picture of your wrist without any watch on it, and it will Photoshop automatically the watch on your wrist so that you can see how it looks and feels from the comfort of your own home while drinking whiskey in front of the TV. It's pretty cool. Next up, we have another Tissot model. It's not as good, in my opinion, as the Tissot PRX, but it's still going to make the list because it's pretty awesome. It's the Tissot Gentleman. The Tissot Gentleman, in my opinion, looks a little bit more dressy because of all that polished metal than the Tissot PRX, and actually comes in a little bit higher of a price point at £710. It comes in at 40mm in diameter and has a thickness of 11.5mm, so there's no complaints there. It fits very, very nicely. It looks very nice and pleasant on the wrist. Definitely more dressy, however, in my opinion. It also has sapphire crystal glass on the front of the watch, which is scratch resistant. This model has the Powermatic 80 movement, which is fully automatic and has 80 hours of power. And on the back of this watch, it has an open case back so that you can see into that movement. And that's another detail that makes this watch just look more expensive than it actually is. The reason that I've added both the PRX and the Gentleman is because I feel they have very different aesthetics. You've got that brushed 70s inspired angular design of the PRX versus the more classic contemporary feel of the Gentleman. So if you want that more classic contemporary feel, I'd maybe side with the Gentleman. But if you want that sporty edge, then go for the PRX. Both look fantastic and of course look more expensive than they actually are. Last, but certainly not least, we have the Tudor Royale, and this watch looks absolutely phenomenal on the wrist, and also Tudor as a brand is just unbelievable. It comes in at £1,880, that is according to today's date, because every year they have price increases, but that is today's date. This model comes in at 41mm and has a pretty incredible bracelet with polished and brushed steel. Now it does have a 70s inspired touch, but I wouldn't say it is 70s inspired because of that more polished steel. It is quite unique to Tudor. This watch has a water resistance of 100 meters and definitely wears like more of a sports model. It's quite angular and quite modern, I would say. It's a pretty good looking watch. Listen, I would love to dive into the specs of this watch. I would love to get into the movement of this watch, but we've already done it in another video and I'll link that up here for you. But at the end of the day, who doesn't want a Tudor watch? And who doesn't want a watch that looks more expensive than it actually is? And on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. It's just a quick one from me today in the studio. If you enjoyed, please hit that subscribe button, and I will see you after a weekend. I'm actually going up to Skye this weekend, so I'll see you after Skye.